Lately, I'm questioning this idea of working flat out until you are 65, 60, and just understanding what drives it. Is it driven by the idea of I never want to go hungry, I'm building my pension? And I think it's driven by probably the last 5 years where I feel like I've really burnt myself out, right?
Yeah, worked hard.
And wondering, would it hurt to take
Sabbatical.
some sabbatical?
And do what? One would imagine that the company that you are in is overweighted by men from a demographic standpoint. And, here you are, woman engineer leading a men's world. How's that like on a day-to-day?
We make a lot of efforts to bring more women into our organization.
Okay.
I think for myself, having come from a public sector space before, there's really a even greater push to have more women. So being in boardrooms with other women, it's something that you experience now and again, quite regularly. I think moving into where I am now, yes, there is a lot of men, but I think the environment is really conducive for you to have a voice, for you to be part of good decision making, for you to make contribution and to actually feel like the contributions that you make in the organization are valuable, and to feel supported that this is an organization that you can stay in.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Off the Clock.
How do you deal with stress? How do you handle that?
Coping mechanisms that I have is I go for a run.
Manage stress by obviously being moments like this. Directly saying I'm going off the clock.
Just even a night out.
I'm listening to my favorite music. I go into one of the studios at the gym and I dance.
Some cocktails and rest and just do nothing.
I ground myself spiritually.
The right amount of stress is good.
Welcome to Off the Clock, Makgola. It's been a while, me trying to get hold of you to sit you down on that chair so that we can have a discussion about how you live your life off the clock. So before we get into some questions, why don't you just introduce yourself the way you like?
Thanks, Peter, and thanks for having me. And I'm glad we're finally getting a moment to sit and chat. So my name is Makgola Makololo. I'm a villager from the north. That's how I normally identify with myself.
Okay.
If you read my Twitter, it says a villager who became an engineer.
Okay.
Out of the village, didn't know what is an engineer, but made it through the system. So yes, an engineer by background, and currently managing director of Alstom Rolling Stock South Africa, where I look after our locomotive supply to Transnet, but I also look after our commercial activities, which is building our order book for the Southern Africa market.
Wow. So you say village, which village from Limpopo?
That's where I'm from.
Yeah, it feels like you came a long way, to be here, just fighting against all the, the myth and things in the way. Did you always find it very difficult to rise up to the top? This old saying of saying, cream will always get to the top. But any obstacles, I think, that you faced in terms of people doubting you, real challenges on the way to where you are, to the corner office?
I was very lucky to be raised by my parents. Firstly, they were teachers, so they had an absolute belief in me. I was one of those kids who had a natural inclination to maths and science. I was an average 99% student throughout primary school. I skipped a grade. So I always had a very strong sense of self, and I think my parents did a lot to really give me early exposure, additional classes, exposure to different schools, which I think really gave me a good sense of confidence to self-belief. So I would say from the onset, I had a good grounding. Good support that I had from my parents. Probably my biggest obstacle, I always say, was university. I found it incredibly
Where did you go?
difficult. I was at the University of Natal, University of KwaZulu-Natal today, Howard College.
How did you choose that?
I actually didn't. It just happened. When I finished matric, I did well in matric, and there was an ESCOM bursary scheme. As far as I knew, I was going to VETS. I was accepted at VETS for mechanical engineering. And when I was waiting for my paperwork, it turned out that somewhere my documents were missed. Whoa. So I had to choose between UCT and the University of Natal. And being a villager, I was like, I think Durban is closer. So that's how we ended up in Durban instead of Cape Town. So completely chance selection. But it was
And
great.
I mean, have you always wanted to be engineer when you were small?
No. So growing up, like most typical black households, nurses, teachers, I have an uncle who's a lawyer, and he was the guy with the BMW. And I think that was motivation. Motivation, yeah. He had this, we now call gusheshe, but then it was
Yeah, I remember
proper
that.
luxury
Yeah,
cars,
yeah.
right? So I wanted to be a lawyer for some time because of that. And then with medicine science exposure, I thought maybe medical laboratories. Funny enough, I never wanted to be a doctor. This is an ongoing fight between me and my father. He brings it up now and again that he doesn't understand why I never studied medicine, something that I still don't regret. And then with the ESCOM expos and exposure, I got a keen interest in engineering.
I mean, talking about your uncle, Kusheshe, BMW, I guess this is a dead giveaway. Do you drive a BMW?
No, I don't.
Have you ever driven a BMW?
I have never driven a BMW. Fun enough.
Okay, all right.
No, and it's not in my psyche and cars that I dream about. So
Why?
no, I don't know. Just never had that appeal to me. So no, I don't have a BMW. But I do love cars. I'll confess.
But not BMW.
But not a BMW. But I love cars.
A lot of people feel like that about BMW.
They love it?
Those who love it, they love it.
Yeah.
Those who don't like it, they don't like it. Probably like you. It's like, it's just there,
Yeah,
Not,
I don't know why.
Not for them. I mean, BMW is a car company that came to South Africa a long time. And a lot of people grew up seeing the car as, I want to, drive that car one day when I grow up. But I think BMW is kind of losing the plot in terms of how the car industry is evolving. Yeah. But that's their problem to solve. Yeah. So, you drive 911 Porsche? What do you drive?
Yes. How are you guessing all of this? Yes, I do. I do have one. I like a bit of a petrol head.
Okay.
Need for speed. But I will evolve. I'll get an EV one of these days. Get on with things. So
I don't think I'll ever drive that car.
I think that time will come where you won't have an option. But
yeah, they say it's coming, but I don't think it will ever come in my lifestyle, my time.
Yeah.
Because I think people are saying by 2030 there will just be no choice.
Yeah.
But just the difference in terms of the way you interact with the petrol car and the electric car, it's just the lack of the noise and the whole engagement thing just kills me.
Yeah.
It just pushed me off.
Well, as somebody who likes mobility and a keen interest in mobility, I'm hoping we will move more towards, good public transport, and then this will become less and less of a topic in South Africa,
Just moving on a little bit, I mean, you came here kind of running like somebody who's juggling too many balls. Have you always wanted to be the CEO, or it just happened as well? I mean, you made the decision to be an engineer. You're the engineer, but you kind of, in a way, moving away. Yeah. Although you're still in the engineering space, but you don't do the technical stuff on a day-to-day.
No. I think when I initially graduated and went into engineering, I always thought I would be a specialist. That was sort of my aspirations. I always had a sense that I don't like boardroom talk, sitting in boardrooms all day, talking, and I didn't see myself inclined that way. When I started working, I just wanted to be a man with a machine. And I think early in my career, a lot of people were saying, but you are a people's person. You've got, good management and leadership inclination. And I think part of it was from my sports playing at university and working with people can be incredibly frustrating, getting people to commit to a schedule, to games, Yeah. So I didn't think I wanted to do that. I think it took me leaving my first job and actually experiencing a different organization for me to realize that I actually would like to work with people. I came back into a management role. I've enjoyed it, and then yes, over time I realized that this is my natural side. Leading, working with people it's something that I would actually enjoy doing. So yes, I've since aspired to be in a bigger office, and getting into this role is part of what I aspire to.
I mean, how's that going? One would imagine that the company that you are in is overweighted by men from a demographic standpoint. And, here you are, woman engineer leading a men's world. How's that like on a day-to-day?
I think, well, firstly, we make a lot of efforts to bring, more women into our organization.
Okay.
I think for myself, having come from a public sector space before, there's really a even greater push to have more women. So being in boardrooms with other women, it's something that you experience now and again, quite regularly. I think moving into where I am now, yes, there is a lot of men, but I think the environment is really conducive for you to have a voice, for you to be part of good decision making, for you to make contribution and to actually feel like the contributions that you make in the organization are valuable, and to feel supported that this is an organization that you can stay in. So I quite feel that I'm in a quite a supportive environment.
And how does balance look like for you? I mean, I'm sure you're not working all the time. You, have hobbies. You kind of rest, and on this show we talk about sleep a lot, diet. How many hours of sleep do you do?
I think I average about 6 hours.
Okay. Only 6?
Yeah, only 6.
Okay.
So I struggle with getting it to bed early, and part of being in an operations environment is, you have to sync with the team in the morning. So we've got, an early call check-in. So you can't sleep late and then think you can sleep in. So you have to be up and you're connecting with everyone. So yes, I would like to do more. I would like to sleep better. I don't think I've got the greatest of habits around my sleeping patterns.
So on a good day, regular day, normal day, you'll go to bed at 12 midnight and you're up at 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 11, 12. Even if I jump into my bed at 10 o'clock, I probably will struggle to close my eyes until that time. It's a clock I've struggled to reset. I would love to, but I've struggled.
There's a saying that, you are what you eat. On the diet side, how's that like for you? Because the perception is, CEOs like you, they're having good life. Every night you go to home, you got a sous chef working for you, preparing a Norwegian salmon with some caviar, rosé wine on the side, and you finish that, you go sit in a jacuzzi and drink some more of bubbly, and then go to bed.
You must give me that template. I like it. No, it's not like that for me. So firstly, I think I probably work too many hours than I should. I should have a routine to stop work earlier than I do.
Do you cook?
I go out a lot. I always make the comment that when I joined this organization in 2020, I weighed a certain kilometers, and I've had a bit of personal growth in that time. And it's mostly because, one, I live with my sister, so we don't cook. She has a super social life. I've got my own life. So I tend to go out a lot with friends, and we have dinner out. So eating out 2-3 times a week, 4 times sometimes. So, yeah.
How's an ideal dinner supper look like for you?
In terms of content?
Yeah.
I'm a meat eater. I eat a lot of meat and veggies, but yes, a glass of wine.
No pap.
Kemupedi. So pap comes in there. So yes, there's a restaurant in Pretoria we always go to. It has good pap, hard body chicken.
Hard body
chicken. Yeah. So that's where you find it. Yeah.
But you don't even attempt to cook on Sunday, 7 colors.
No, I don't. Not necessarily Sundays, but some days during the week I'll come home and cook. But it's not my regular. I would love to cook more. I would love to entertain more. But yes, I think I spend a bit more time outside of my house than there.
So your favorite dish will include
Some ribeye, is my favorite dish.
Okay.
With a bit of vegetables
and
and chips now
and red wine,
and a glass of red wine, maybe 2 glasses.
maybe the whole bottle.
Depends on how the day was. Eh?
Looking back in terms of your careers, where you've been, any regrets, any highlights, things that you're proud of, want to brag about, or really regret about?
Well, I joined an organization that I will not name in 2008, I think.
If you like, you can name them.
I will not. Let me not.
Okay.
Let me not. Yeah, the future is long. And I don't know if it was the overall DNA of this organization, because I got friends who work there, who have worked there, who actually like this organization. But for myself, I joined with 7 other people, high talent, we were called. I remember going to this interview, they showed me the org structure, where I would fall in, where my team would fall in.
Yeah.
And when I got there, people would say, "Oh, you guys are the capacity creation guys."
Okay.
What do you mean capacity creation? Oh, no, you guys are the... So it was some kind of a way to inflate the black talent numbers at senior level, and to make it look like this company was transformed. But in reality, there was still... You have a role, but there's always somebody on top of you that actually makes the actual decisions. I used to dislike waking up and going there. They have this plant, you can hear it in the morning when you wake up from your house. And at some point I really used to dislike that. So I didn't like the move. I don't necessarily regret it, because I think in that 18 months I had a lot of time to actually reflect about what I think is a good career path for me. And when I made the next move, I was more comfortable and confident that I was going in the right direction. So something that I highlight what I like. I was in government for some time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a move that a lot of professionals would not make. Engineers jumping into the government environment. Part of it is, I was in the energy industry at the time, and I really wanted to understand policy formulation. The sector is evolving, and I must say it was really good exposure. It was tough. Government is a very tough environment.
Yeah.
I don't regret it at all. It's probably a good highlight of my career. I probably had my biggest growth from there, and so I quite like having that as part of the experience that I've had. And I think when we talk about characterization of issues in the country, I think it helps me to see things slightly more different than
from the other side as well. Yeah. Okay. I just wished you could name and shame, that crazy company. One thing that I do is I advocate for diversity and inclusion. I've got less tolerance to companies that are trying to hold us back. I write and talk about that. So it's just something that I do, quite a bit, So, but I guess everybody has reached there, been there and seen it, especially as a black person in South Africa. Your high school, you went to boarding school?
I went to a Catholic all-girls boarding school.
Okay.
Motse Maria High School in Limpopo.
Oh, typical.
Typical? Yeah, well, there was a couple. There was a couple.
How was life like that?
Life at boarding school, Catholic mission school, it was not luxurious. It was high levels of discipline. It was structured. I think back to 4 or 5 years after I left the school, there was a strike, because I think the kids eventually wouldn't eat
take it.
the slice of bread and jam. So it was, but I think it was meant to teach you discipline, and I think from a curriculum point of view, it was a very good school, very high levels of achievement, but certainly teaches you a lot of humility. I was telling my parents 3 weeks ago when I was at home, and I said, do you know that in the 5 years I was in that school, I never watched TV once? Not once did we have, we had a TV room with a TV, but actually we never had a chance to watch TV, because it was study, discipline, which had its, I guess, ups.
So, I'm sure you agree that you're very cheesy. That school is kind of cheese girls, cheese boys type,
No.
Parents who are relatively well off. have everything, you know?
No. I don't think Mosamaria symbolizes that at all. No, it's a very average Model C school. There's certainly average. I mean, our school fees were what? I think it was it 3,000 rand a year.
I bet. The time value of money. I mean, if it was 20 years ago, 3,000 was a lot of money. You know, I think about how my father bought his first car, like 1,000 rand. It was a beautiful car.
Yeah. No. But it really was not. And I think the values of the school as well were designed and such that there was no opulence at our school. It was not allowed. It was shied upon. We wore uniforms on Saturday to try and shield even the poorest of kids who were there at our school from being very average in my view. Very average.
Were you bullied?
At school?
Yeah.
No.
Just
No,
okay.
I was not. In primary school, I used to like getting into fights with boys. I guess I wanted to
Show them who you are.
Yeah, I didn't like boys. There was a boy who liked me at school, and I don't know why I got into a fight with him. He wrote me a letter, and he put a coin in this letter and he gave it to me. I was so upset.
Why?
We always laugh about it. I'm like, I don't know why this poor guy showed me affection, and I rejected it greatly.
You're not ready, right?
I was not ready. It's primary school, so yes.
So that must be your biggest regret.
We talk, we don't fight. Yeah, I see him now. I mean, we're in the same village. We don't talk about it, but yeah.
So it's not writing anymore.
He stopped writing. He had to stop writing after that initial rejection.
PC of proper. So with all that in mind, I mean, are you married? Any kids?
I'm not married. I don't have kids. Been in a 4-year relationship. I think, which has been wonderful. I think today we can say it's complicated. We've gone through a bit of a dark valley, so I don't know where it will go from here, but it's been a great 4 years. I've had a great partner.
But I mean, that sounds like, real life, huh?
Sounds like life.
Some days are better than others.
For sure. For sure.
I mean, hopefully you get married one day.
I would love to. I thought I was going to marry this one. No,
and then you're not sure?
I don't know. Let's see. Peter say one prayer for me tonight. Let's see where it goes. He's a great guy. We've had a wonderful time. But that's life.
But he started losing points lately.
I don't know how to characterize this. We'll finish off the clock and we'll go off the record.
Okay, cool. We can edit stuff here. So you said you're living with your sister. Is she older, younger?
My youngest sister.
Okay.
My youngest sister. She lives with me. Very smart girl. She's a teacher. Very passionate about people. I think it takes like some really special people to be a teacher in today's age. So very great community leader. Yeah.
I mean, being a teacher is like a very important position in the community, in the class, to mold, influence people and direct them in the right direction. I think it's just a good place to be. Just in terms of travel, where have you been? What's your favorite destination? If you're saying you're going on holiday or places that you want to be.
I mean, I've been many places. I always tell people if there was a city I could ever live in, it's probably San Francisco. It's the one place where I stayed, and I think I stayed for about 2-3 months in San Francisco. I was on an exchange program. Greatly enjoyed it. Beautiful city.
What, university or?
No, so when in 2013, I was selected as in the top 80 of young women in tech. In Africa and Middle East. And so we had this exchange program that was run by the US Department of Education. So I greatly enjoyed my stay there. I understand it's changed a little bit since then, but I greatly enjoyed that. Outside of that, I've been everywhere. I always look forward to coming home. Yes, I enjoy travel. I enjoy a lot of places. I enjoy the warmer parts of Southern Africa, Mozambique, Durban. I lived for 5 years in Durban. So
university life.
University life, but the climate as well. After you adjust, it's quite pleasant. So yes, I do travel. I travel quite a bit, but I always love coming back home.
Yeah, funny you're saying you like San Francisco. That's also my favorite city. But my experience has been quite different. So I've been to San Francisco many times. And I always, every time I've been there on business, I'll extend and stay a day or two. And there was this time when I realized that it's very similar to Cape Town in the sense of Napa Valley, Alcatraz, that the prison that you can go to.
Okay.
And because I really and it's very hilly and up and down.
Yes.
One thing that kind of stood out for me was similar to Cape Town, but I mean it's just so full of gay people. I don't know if you noticed that in your time.
Yes. Yes.
And the kind of a cherry on top, or the thing that really, spotlighted that for me was I was there one time, and it happened to be a Valentine's Day. Okay. And that was the 2 days that I stayed extra. And I went shopping and all that. I wanted to sit down and eat in a restaurant. I was just looking around and seeing what's just unbelievable, just in terms of how gay is. And then over time, I realized that, US is very open about, gay, lesbian kind of space, but a lot of people prefer and feel comfortable in San Francisco. Yeah. So it just happened to be so dramatic in my travel as well. I mean, I remember one time I traveled to San Francisco for a meeting in probably the last few days of Jan. And then, the weather is much better than the East Coast. Mm-hmm. And I flew via DC that time. And then suddenly DC was snowing. The airport was closed, and I was supposed to fly back out. It's like you can't fly. And fortunately, they got to route me through LA to Frankfurt back to South Africa. So a trip that was supposed to be Friday, I ended up getting back home on a Monday. But
sure.
But
that's how I got to know Cincinnati. It was never on my list of places to go. So I got on diversion. Yeah, there was snow, and I ended up in Cincinnati. It's always been one of those funny things that it was never on my list of things to do. But now I can tick it off the box. I've been to Cincinnati.
You sound very purposeful person. Looking at how imperfect South Africa is, and you mentioned that you've been all over the world, but you always wanted to come home. If there's one thing or two things that, if you have a magic wand to make it go away, what would be that thing?
Poverty and unemployment. I think, I feel like we do such an injustice to the dignity of people. So I think if there's one thing that could be, I always say that, we have many priorities in South Africa. And if you look at, what keeps us busy, what keeps cabinet busy, I wish they could just have one or two items. It's unemployment and poverty and crime. And if we just look after these two things and impact that greatly, I think the rest of the things will fall into place.
But what do you think is stopping the politicians? I mean, it's so obvious. It's there. I mean, even for you and me to see what's in the way.
I think we've got a lot of structural issues that we haven't dealt with over time. We've got an economy that is, concentrated in SOCs. So when SOCs get into the red, like we've had over the last, let's just say, decade plus, the net impact into the economy is quite significant, and it takes time to have those turnarounds and the turnaround to then be effective. And if you really go back and look at the turnarounds, maybe today we can reference ESCOM, because we see quite a good improvement in what Dan has been able to achieve. But the net impact of that in the economy and in the industrial side of our economy is it doesn't go away overnight. Yeah. So I think we need to allow for private capital to come into the different parts of the economy, and to allow for greater investments. Preserve the industries that we have, to make sure we preserve the jobs that we have. I think it's when you look at unemployment numbers, it's like youth unemployment. It says people born after 1989 a good 70% of them don't work. That's like mind-blowing. I think you saw the protests yesterday in Tembisa. I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
saw
getting
that.
to that.
Yeah.
So I think it's
There was also one in Roslyn.
yeah.
Yeah.
And once you start having that that spiraling effect, and people have this growing impatience, and we need to see things get better in the economy.
Yeah, Arab Spring type.
Yeah.
Where the youth just stand up and say no more.
For sure.
So those are the two things that you can do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, crime is a big thing. I always tell people that I've never thought about emigrating from South Africa. It's never a topic for me. But when you start talking about criminality and where you start looking over your shoulder, then that becomes a topic even for me. So I think it's a topic, and I think it's good to now see it being so openly discussed about how organized crime is operating in our country. And we need to see, that being impacted with some interventions, some effective interventions.
Yeah, I mean, I never saw this like that.
Yeah.
As a black person, I've got a lot of friends who are non-black, and they kind of one small thing they want to leave.
They want to leave, yes, exactly.
But I mean, as a black person, I feel like. I don't have too many options. I don't have an uncle in St. Petersburg or Russia or a gogo there to go to. And I think we just have to fight for it and fix it, And also looking at the world today with, Trump's ideology, it's like nobody's welcome anybody.
Yeah.
If you go somewhere else, one day they throw you out. So I think it's probably better to just fix your backyard
for sure.
and make sure that it's okay.
For sure.
And make things work. I think it's going to take a lot of work to turn South Africa around. And it's tenable, but immigration is not a solution for me.
No, I agree. And that's why I say I've never thought about it. But I think when you start to feel like, will I make it back home this evening? And crime gets to that level, and you have a break-in in your street every other day, criminality starts to get too close, and you do wonder. You do wonder.
Yeah.
About that,
And I mean, talk about current stuff. I see the past month or so with how the police have kind of upped the game a little bit.
For sure.
Roadblocks, traffic cops working with South African police, which is what you're supposed to see. And also what kind of annoyed me is the kind of variety or difference in the way police behave from province to province.
For sure. Alufagwa versus the others, yeah?
Yeah, but I mean, you see in KZN or Western Cape or other places, they kind of try to do their work and really push the law. Yeah. I always tell this as a story, as a joke or something. You coming from Limpopo, you understand. One time I was driving to Polokwane, Old Road, and there were these guys who were like really driving crazy, drinking. You see them throwing the cans out of the car, and I felt like they wanted to bump us at some stage and thing. And suddenly, boom, we went into a roadblock. And I said, I'm going to tell on them. I was so excited. It's like, this crap is over. Yeah. Then the surprise and disappointment and the horror in my face was when I told the cops and said, these guys are drinking and you need to do something about it. Then they said, sorry, sir. Today we're checking safety belts.
No.
Maybe next week we'll, check other stuff.
Yeah. No, but you do see it on the road as well, right?
It's like the dumbest thing ever,
You do see it on the road where a person can speed past a police car and nothing happens because they're going to something else they're not here for. So yes, you do see part of that. But I just want to add that the one thing, and I think being from a village and having grown in a very communal space, I think one of the values we really have lost as South Africans is this sense of community and communal values.
Yeah.
Because a big part of having good security and good being your neighbor's keeper is having communal values, knowing who's on the other side of the wall, and being able to coordinate and understand who's here. And I think a part of a big part of the urban values that we have lost is around exactly that, communal values, and therefore safety becomes about the police and less so about me and my neighbor looking after each other. And that's why you can harbor criminals in your neighborhood because you don't know who lives there. Exactly. So I think it's a good value that we need to re-embrace as people and teach to others. Yeah.
So one or two questions, and then I'll allow you opportunity for you to revenge and ask me some questions. Where to from here? I mean, I'm sure you've got a big ambition now in terms of having been CEO in an environment that you are in. Is something that you're enjoying and wanting to grow bigger and bigger from where you are?
Lately, I'm questioning this idea of working flat out until you are 65, 60, and just understanding what drives it. Is it driven by the idea of I never want to go hungry, I'm building my pension? And I think it's driven by probably the last 5 years where I feel like I've really burnt myself out, right?
Yeah, worked hard.
And wondering, would it hurt to take some
sabbatical?
And
do what?
I don't know. Rest for one. Okay, catch up on my 6 hours.
Okay.
A bit of rest, travel. I mean, a friend of mine said quite recently that, Makgola used to be fun when she used to go to the Grand Prix and travel. I mean, I used to do this early in my career. I travel a lot more. And now I find that I travel a lot more for business and work than for personal fun.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah. So travel a bit more. But obviously, you need to put bread on the table. There would still be other business ideas.
Play for the lights. They don't stay on for free,
Yeah. So I do think more and more do I want to take on another executive role immediately after this? Do I want to take a year off? It's something that I'm pondering on. But a part of me feels like my system probably needs a reset of some kind to look, So I'm weighing in on those options.
Yeah, most execs take a break from a heavy assignment like this and then kind of, cool off, figure out, what's next project next looks like, how they're going to do it and all that. So, do you have any questions for me?
Yes, I mean, you've been in C-suite all your life. You've traversed this continent. And you obviously went into all of these boardrooms with expectation. What has been the most surprising thing for you? And if you were to take on a huge executive role now, what would be different about how you would do it?
Yeah, wow, that's a good question. I mean, I just looking back, my reflection of my CEO roles were been. I mean, I think I've seen the CEO role moving from king to kind of another regular guy in terms of the controls and the power and everything else, which I think is good from a governance standpoint. But at the same time, I mean, I've seen, some of the surprises and things. What really stands out for me is if you're a CEO of a medium-sized or big organization, you need to be able to impact. The big thing about me is about, creating shared value, solving societal problems. You spoke about crime, unemployment, solving societal problems and while you're making money, intertwining the company's existence in communities where you do business. I kind of mastered that better. And if you are to be CEO of another big company, I will amplify that in a big way, But at the same time, life is not perfect. It's not pure. One thing that really stands out, or one or two things, has been seeing my recent role at Medtronic, realizing that when I joined, somebody stole over $500 million. And was like, wow, is that even possible? But when I got closer to the fire, to the details and everything else, and then I realized it's possible and the person is just too smart and, stealing taxman's money under the umbrella of the company. But at the same time, I've seen the weight and the impact of just people. People die at work for natural causes. But as a CEO, you're so involved, you're part of it, you know these people as part of your work family. And yeah, those things induce a lot of stress, a bit of soul searching as well. Yeah. That reality is, I don't think they'll ever, I said this to my son, I don't think they'll ever pay their CEOs enough for what they take, because what you take is not even written on your job contract. So that's my thoughts about your question.
And just maybe to go back, you spoke about solving for social issues while making money. So would you take on a public sector role today?
Ideally, yes.
Or you've
but,
tasted private sector
Ideally,
too much?
yes, but not in this environment of like fighting with your hands tied at the back and all that. I mean, that's probably the best place to make an impact. Like solve a housing problem, solve the roads or the infrastructure, or unemployment. I mean, look how we're able to fast track and excel. Yes, youth. For about 3 years or so, I was chairman of Summit, which is a medical sector industry organization. We're able to galvanize up to 50 companies to take young graduate program and create employment. There are opportunities there to solve the problem, but if you feel that you're kind of constrained, it's frustrating.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you very much for making the time to be with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Peter.
Cool.
Enjoyed the conversation.
Glad you enjoyed it. Right.